The storm froze the airport in silence, rain blurring the world beyond the glass. Amid the stranded crowd sat Daniel Cross, a CEO known for control and power. But today, in his black suit, he looked lost, having buried both parents only hours before. If you believe in compassion, hope, and second chances, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more stories. Let's begin. The storm shut the airport down without mercy. Thunder rolled above the massive glass ceiling, rain hammering against the windows as departure boards flickered from delayed to cancelled. Frustration spread through the terminal, raised voices, crying children, exhausted travelers pacing in circles with nowhere left to go. Time felt suspended, heavy and unkind. In the middle of it all sat Daniel Cross, a powerful CEO in a perfectly tailored black coat. His posture was straight, his expression controlled, his presence commanding even in stillness. To the outside world, he looked untouched by chaos. But only hours earlier, he had stood in a quiet cemetery, watching two coffins lowered into the ground. His parents. Both gone on the same gray afternoon. The last people who had loved him without conditions were buried beneath wet soil, and now the world expected him to keep moving. Daniel stared through rain-blurred glass, unmoving. Success had built him an empire, but it had not prepared him for emptiness. Then small footsteps stopped in front of him. A little girl in a bright yellow coat tilted her head and studied him carefully, as if she sensed something invisible. With innocent seriousness, she asked, "Are you lost too, mister?" The question pierced him deeper than any condolence. Daniel looked up, startled by the honesty in her voice. For a moment, he couldn't respond. Before he could, the girl's mother rushed over, apologizing with quiet embarrassment. Her name was Rachel Turner. She looked tired but gentle, the kind of woman used to carrying responsibility without complaint. Daniel assured her it was fine, though something tight settled in his chest. The girl, Ellie, didn't step away. She smiled at him softly, as if she instinctively knew he needed it. Hours dragged on as the storm worsened. Ellie grew restless, exhaustion slowly replacing curiosity. Rachel tried to calm her, worry etched deep into her expression. Without fully realizing what he was doing, Daniel stood and walked to a nearby shop. He returned with a small stuffed airplane and gently placed it into Ellie's hands. Her face lit up instantly. Daniel then offered Rachel a warm cup of chamomile tea. Rachel hesitated, surprised. Men who looked like Daniel were rarely the first to show kindness. Ellie hugged the toy tightly and whispered a quiet thank you, as if she'd received something far greater than a gift. After that, Ellie stayed close to Daniel. She showed him how the airplane could fly, laughed when he made clumsy sound effects, and eventually rested her head against his arm. Daniel didn't pull away. Warmth spread through his chest, an unfamiliar feeling he hadn't allowed himself to feel since childhood. Conversation followed quietly. Rachel spoke about raising Ellie alone, working long hours just to keep their life steady. Daniel admitted he had no family left. Work had replaced connection for years, and now grief had stripped even that illusion away. For the first time in a long while, he spoke without guarding every word. When the announcement came that all remaining flights were cancelled overnight, panic crossed Rachel's face. She couldn't afford a hotel and feared keeping Ellie in the cold terminal. She tried to hide it, but Daniel noticed. Gently, firmly, he insisted they take the extra room he had already booked. Rachel resisted at first, pride tightening her voice, but Ellie's shivering hands made the decision clear. She accepted quietly, gratitude heavy in her eyes. That night, Daniel lay awake in his hotel room, staring at the ceiling as the storm finally eased outside. Sleep refused to come. Ellie's question echoed again and again. "Are you lost too?" For the first time, he answered honestly. Yes. He had been lost for years, long before grief, long before success. He had mistaken control for strength and isolation for safety. Money, power, and achievement had filled his days, but none of them had filled his heart. Ellie hadn't comforted him with advice or sympathy. She had simply seen him. Not as a CEO. Not as a powerful man. But as someone quietly breaking. In the darkness, Daniel felt clarity settle in. Humanity wasn't something he had lost forever. It was something he had forgotten how to accept. Morning brought reassigned flights and cautious relief. The terminal slowly came back to life. Ellie spotted Daniel across the waiting area and ran toward him, wrapping her small arms around him without hesitation. Daniel knelt and hugged her back, holding her with a tenderness that surprised even him. Rachel watched silently, emotion rising in her throat. Before they parted, Daniel told Rachel that meeting her and Ellie had changed him, that Ellie had reminded him of something precious he thought grief had taken forever, his connection to people. Rachel believed him. She thanked him not just for the hotel room, but for seeing them. As they walked toward separate gates, Daniel felt different. Not healed, but guided. And just before boarding, he whispered softly, finally answering the question that had followed him through the storm. Yes, Ellie. I was lost. But because of you, not anymore. Thanks for being here. Like and subscribe to keep more unforgettable stories coming.